wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Solitus tuo, usulcarum, ungularum, delectatque contremescit me. Intra, intro.
All right, back with another episode of 13th and Elm. Woo! We couldn't ignore you for more than a week. We came back with Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, 1988's classic, if you want to call it that, B-movie, which it firmly is. Black horror comedy, I guess. It's kind of got a weird, like, gumshoe, yellow spine detective novel narrator type of angle.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's like hardly horror, to be honest. It's absolutely exploitation, and it does kind of have elements of a slasher, but not really. We'll get into it. It's directed by Fred Olen Ray. He's crazy. We'll talk a lot about him, actually, believe it or not. And then it... you could say starring, I guess it's starring Linnea Quigley, and then it also features Gunnar Hansen, who people know Gunnar Hansen from from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's Leatherface.
Shout out.
He's also an author. As you may know, he's authored a book on Barrier Islands, the Great American Barrier Islands.
I have
called the Islands of Time. If you want to read it, I have a copy.
Just add us, and Michael will mail
it to you.
a copy.
You just have to promise to mail it back.
Of the honor system.
Yeah, it's like the fucking Heaven's Gate cult. It's like your
it's
boy.
Just like that.
Yeah,
just like that.
He'll send you the Heaven's Gate. Yeah, he'll send you.
He sends you
initiation
documents, and you're not, and you can't keep it or whatever.
Yeah, he wants you to make a copy of his VHS and send it back to him so he can keep recruiting people. If you go to their website right now, check it out. Anyway,
you're our sponsor.
Gunnar Hansen, Linnea Quigley, and then also I'll ask you this, Bill. Did you recognize? Have you seen like the movie poster for this film?
Yeah.
That woman,
yeah.
I can't remember her name in the film.
Her name in the film is Lisa?
Mercedes?
Lori?
No, Mercedes.
Yeah.
The main
named
Michelle
all
Bauer.
the other ones.
Yeah, do you know who that is?
I don't
Michelle
know who
Bauer.
that is, but I mean, she was like she was the lead for half the film, basically.
Do you recognize her from anything? She's also in something with Linnea Quigley that also came out in 1988, the same year as this movie.
And I'm not looking right now. I wouldn't do that.
Right, and I would.
But now I feel she's not in.
She is. She's
in
one of the
Slime
main
Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's
I didn't even get there yet. But now that I'm thinking about it,
she's the one who.
That came out in '88.
Yeah.
Damn.
She's the
That's
one
later than I
who.
Gets the
freaky.
uncontrollable
She gets
sex.
freaky. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
The little nerd
Yeah. We'll just say that.
wishes, so
some of us. Yeah. We'll just say that.
Oh,
anyway.
no Rob spoilers.
So, Fred Olen Ray, Gunnar Hansen, Linnea Quigley, and Michelle Bauer. Not fucking bad.
Not bad.
Also not bad. 75 minutes, 72 minutes, something like that. It was like
that.
Hour and 10, hour and 12 minutes.
And yet
it did feel.
It felt
longer.
Felt like an hour and 30, hour 40.
Easily. Yeah.
It felt a little longer. We'll get into it.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. This movie, it was quick. It was pretty much everything it was advertised. If you like nudity and blood and bad comedy and worse acting, this is going to deliver it in a pretty tight package, and yet it's still going to have fluff. Even the things that were good sometimes went on too long. Like some of like just the gratuitous nudity was like to the point where it's like, okay, like we're not even sexy anymore. It's just like
it's just
uncomfortable.
Weird. I agree. And
there's
not a lot of, or any really, on-screen violence. It's all very much just people getting sprayed with fake blood
thrown
from
at them.
Yeah, like buckets.
It's like clearly buckets of blood. Yeah, it's like the Tarantino trunk angle, right? You know what I mean? It's like when they
Yeah.
pop the trunk, like all you can see
Yeah.
is the perp, and then
From
they're
the
getting
waist
covered
up,
in blood,
pretty
and
much.
yeah.
Tarantino wishes he could have touched this movie.
Let me tell you
Would
something
have had a
about
lot
that.
more slurs in it.
Let me
And
tell you.
feet.
Let me tell you
There are a
something
lot of
about
feet
that.
in it already, but yeah, I agree.
So Fred Olen Ray has a really interesting story, including Quentin Tarantino. I bet you Quentin Tarantino loves Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers because Fred Olen Ray, the director, is kind of a big deal in horror, science fiction, action adventure type of comedy shit. Anyway, he loaned Quentin Tarantino his personal 16 millimeter camera so that Tarantino could film My Best Friend's Birthday, which was Tarantino's 33-minute short in 1988 that helped get his career launched to help him do like True Romance and everything else. So Fred Olen Ray and Tarantino were friends and like
That's cool.
kind of an inspiration. I don't know. This dude, Fred Olen Ray, is nuts. He's done, I don't know, 60 plus credits as
wow.
like writer, director, producer. He was also a professional wrestler who wrestled under the name of Fabulous Freddie Valentine.
What?
Yes!
That's great. I want to see Fabulous Freddy wrestle.
Oh my God.
Pull that shit up, Jamie.
Jamie. Yeah, so he got into horror from being a huge fan of like the Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein and like Meet the Mummy and all that stuff, which honestly I might pick those for an episode one time because Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is like always regarded as the true birth or like one of the milestones in the very early seminal days of horror comedy. And I fucking have never watched an Abbott and Costello movie, and I don't think I'd really care much for it, but hit me with that Abbott and Costello. Anyway, so he did a bunch of work with like Peter Cushing and the Carradines. What's going on over there, Bill? Bill's losing it, and I'm struggling to keep it together as a result. Now we've acknowledged it. It's on the pod. I can't do it. Anyway.
I'm sorry, you said Erminal by accident and it tickled.
Erminal. Yeah, I know. I tried to move on, but that was like 13 seconds ago, and you're still
I'm
on.
sorry.
Anyway, we could talk more about Fred Olen Ray, but we don't need to. Let's talk about his movie, Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. It opens up above the City of Angels.
That's right.
With
Los
a
Angeles.
weird quote.
What is the quote?
I don't remember exactly, but it's...
Well, before the
Could
movie...
you look it up
mean,
real quick? Like,
hold on. Do you mean before the movie starts? Like in the very beginning about the real chainsaws? Because at the title card in the movie, it says...
Oh, no.
I forgot about this. But the very beginning, like the screen goes black and then a public advisory comes up and it says, the chainsaws used in this motion pictures are real and dangerous. They're handled here by seasoned professionals. The makers of the motion picture advise strongly against anyone attempting to perform these stunts at home, especially if you are naked and about to engage in strenuous sex.
Okay, maybe that's
It's
what
an
it was.
insane fucking...
And then you watch like Linnea Quigley with like 2 chainsaws. She's a seasoned
She's
professional.
a 105-pound vegan. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No,
I'm
but
just
she's
saying,
carrying 2 like 30-pound
vegan
fucking
girl.
gas-powered chainsaws.
Yes, she's struggling to hold them up. Like we'll get to it, but like the apex dance, the climax dance here could have been so much sexier if those were foam chainsaws. She could not lift them.
Get 'em, man.
But yeah, they were real chainsaws, and they were real professionals. I mean, they were getting paid for doing what they were doing. So professionals.
Yep.
Man, so private detective Jack Chandler tries to track down this teenage
He's a dick.
runaway.
He's a private dick.
Yeah, he's a private dick. First of all, did you think this movie was funny?
At times.
At times. It was one of those where, I don't even remember which one, but it was like, oh man, this is really funny. And then after like 30 minutes, it's like kind of loses its charm because it's the same humor.
Like Tokyo Gore Police, but different.
No, there was one like super recently that we watched that was like really funny, and then after a while I was like, this is not that funny anymore. But It doesn't matter, but there were some really funny quotes in this. I wrote a bunch of them down. I mean, the same thing with Night of the Demons.
Honestly, the like
As
plot
far as just
isn't
like a bunch of I mean like just like a bunch of really funny quotes.
Oh
the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
time,
yeah.
Not like plot wise.
No. I was gonna say this one. The plot isn't anything like really important. The plot, honestly,
It's ridiculous.
it's summarized
It's
on
insane.
Wikipedia as such in like 3 sentences. I'll read it to you, and it's really the only thing on Wikipedia about the plot. It says, when private detective Jack Chandler tries to track down teenage runaway, he runs into a cult of Egyptian chainsaw worshipping prostitutes led by the Master.
Yeah, that's
And
the
like
movie.
that's
Like it's a cult
kind
and
of
they
it.
worship chainsaws.
Yep, because saws purify the body or something.
And it's
Why couldn't it have just been about a gang of hookers that kill people with chainsaws?
Because of Egypt. Egypt's cool. You want to add that in.
Yeah, you got to sprinkle that in.
And also,
well,
Gunnar
my
Hansen.
ancestors from Egypt. What was it?
Yeah.
What's the line?
Oh,
Something like honoring my ancestors from Egypt. I can't remember.
I lived in Egypt.
I lived in Egypt for 2 years.
Fuck.
So-
So Gunnar Hansen for most of this movie is just in the background watching.
And
In
like
the shadows.
doesn't
we
speak
just see
much.
his face. Yeah, he doesn't really talk till the last like 15 minutes,
I mean,
which is only an
this
hour into
movie
the
was filmed in like 4 days. And
What?
Yeah. Could you believe it?
I believe
That's
it.
crazy.
This movie was filmed in 4 days and was reportedly, about $60,000 to $70,000 for budget, and ended up kind of being a smash hit. I mean, it's okay. So that's relative, right? But this guy, Fred Olen, who's made some important movies, or maybe not important, but notable movies, and has like 60 plus credits or whatever. We picked this one. You know, it's got Linnea Quigley, it's got Gunnar Hansen, Michelle Bauer, and people do talk about it. So I guess this was his hit. It's kind of what he's known for a little bit. And it's also got to be the main works of the likes of Fox Harris, or how about this one? I know you love this name. Dookie Fly Swatter.
Dookie Fly Swatter. I
AKA
saw that shit.
Jake the bartender.
God,
Of course, we
what a
know Jake the
name.
bartender as Dookie Fly Swatter.
What a creepy looking dude.
Oh, did you look at him?
Yeah, he looked like a
I
toad.
looked at him. Yeah.
Well, like, I mean, have you seen him in life? He's like,
Oh no,
he does,
he looks a little bit like the Ice Cream Man.
kind of. We also said he looks like a animated version of Peter Lorre.
Peter Lorre?
Not even the Peter Lorre, but like
No,
an animated
animated
Bugs
version.
Bunny, like, oh, master.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I guess your boy Dookie Fly Swatter is also a singer for like a Los Angeles horror punk band called Haunted Garage. And so
That's great.
yeah, he does a bunch of dress up live horror rock shock like punk rock performances
That's
where
tight.
they do like I don't know. It's like not Gigi Allen, but it's like
Gore.
Gore-esque, Gorgo Bordello type of on-stage performance where it's like chainsaws and blood and like a
cut
lot of
himself a
go-go
little
dancers
bit.
with like their tits out and shit like that, like fire breathing. It's kind of like a hybrid freak show, punk rock show.
Bordello thing.
That's tight.
It's pretty fucking cool, actually. I would love to see that. I don't know if they're still in doing any music, but like I guess they'd even played music with like the Dead Kennedys and shit in the early 90s. Like they've been doing it for like a
Damn.
long time. Like the Dead Boys and shit, Green Jelly. They've been playing a lot of shows. So this guy was definitely making music around that time and was in the scene. Like I said, this movie was filmed in 4 days, and Fred Olen kind of has that like Roger Corman mentality where he would go into a place, find some locals, have some people, find some props, and make a movie in 4 or 5 days, cut out, do all of his like writing, executive producing, camera work and shit like that. So that's kind of cool. But I mean, really, if you watch the movie, you can tell that it's rather simple. It wouldn't be hard for us to make it if we had the resources, not to take it away, because this is kind of a masterpiece, right? Okay, so the thing about this movie that I love,
Masterpiece might not be the right
thing
word.
about this movie that I love is this movie is like what your parents always think the horror movies that you're watching are. You know what I mean?
That's
it's like
true.
Yeah,
just
that's true.
so many
Gratuitous
boobs and
nudity.
like buckets
Just
of blood. Just
spraying
you know what I
everywhere.
mean? It's like there's
And
stupid.
just
There's
nothing,
no
no
plot.
redeeming
There's no
qualities.
yeah. It's just like boobs and blood, and it's like none of those movies really like exist, or they're not like popular. Even like the bad, nasty horror movies and shit. Like somebody's trying to do something. This movie wasn't. It's Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, and I love it for that.
What it says it is.
It knows what it is.
With a gumshoe twist.
Yeah,
That
was
was fun.
wild. Like at first, I thought it was just like a one-off like intro scene, and then they just kept going with it.
With what?
The detective.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Because it like
was-
opens up above the city of angels, as we were saying, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, I'm looking for this. Well, I was hired by a guy. I gotta find his daughter. Like I'm gonna go do this." And then like we cut to a scene where a woman, a hooker, Michelle Bauer, Mercedes, smoke show.
So many names.
She picks up a guy
From
to
Seattle.
solicit her, really, and then they go back to a place, and he's gonna get she's gonna fuck his brains out.
Yeah,
Is that what she says?
That's what.
I think that
Probably,
might be
yeah.
a later kill, because she
Yeah.
gets the chainsaw.
That's what
and
she tells to the private
Yeah.
dick.
Okay. It's a private dick. But anyway, she kills him because she's a hooker with a chainsaw.
Yeah, she covers up her picture of Elvis Presley, puts on a hairnet.
I mean, it's kind of like Bateman style.
It is kind of like Bateman.
It, like, was there music playing?
yeah.
Oh, the music
Just
in this
like-
movie is insane.
The
She's
soundtrack
playing
is
some, like,
decent. The like
oldie-
original score is weird.
Yeah,
Like the real songs that are in it are good, but then there's some parts that's like the original score that are fucking strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is very Patrick Bateman-esque, as in like she's kind of dancing, being sexy, and as she's doing that, she just pulls out a huge plastic sheet and like puts it down and puts on a shower cap.
yeah.
Which was great.
It was good.
honestly.
The shower cap was good.
And like right here is where I really figured out like what type of movie we were gonna get, because I had a pretty good idea, but I didn't know what the element of gore was going to be. And like I was really excited for this. I was like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be awesome."
You thought you were
And
gonna see
then
a guy just getting hacked apart.
maybe just like a quick anything, but this was literally like goes in POV from the
Yeah.
killer, gets the chainsaw to his chest, switches to the POV,
And it's just blood
And it's just-
flying at naked bodies.
which
Being
is
just
great.
thrown and
Which
like,
is
from a
fine.
bucket, and then like it also like the little hand that like grabs at her.
Oh,
and then
that's
she grabs
so
it and, like,
funny.
throws
Oh,
it
the
away.
hand.
The hand
Oh,
that
the hand
grabs her
grabs her
tit,
tits.
and then she looks at it, and she like because first of all she goes and she starts chopping him up, right, and it's like for like a while. It's like 4, 5, 6
And
seconds.
he completely ignores it. He doesn't care. She's
Ah.
like walking towards him with a real chainsaw on, and he's like, "Yeah, baby, come give it to me."
And she just starts cutting him up, and that's when the buckets of blood come, and it's going on screen, buckets of blood. It's like funny because it's clearly buckets of blood because it comes in
It
sloshing
comes in
waves.
splots. It's like,
It's like, and then you see him break it. Yeah. And so by the time the third slosh of wave or bucket of blood comes, a fucking hand grabs her
boob.
titty, and she looks down at it, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And then she grabs it and pulls it off, and it's already been cut off of his body. It's
Just
like
tosses it to the side.
hand. What's the hand in Adam's Family? You know,
The
it doesn't
thing
care.
or the hand.
Yeah, the thing. I think it's called Thing.
Thing.
It's called
yeah, thing.
Yeah. And that was funny. But
That was a
also,
funny
I
little
was
bit.
like, okay, so we're not going to get any gore, but it's also going to be an excuse for Michelle Bauer to run around naked. I mean, yes, please. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
And so I'm already thinking to myself, if she's this naked, Linnea Quigley's just
That hasn't
gonna
even
not
shown yet.
even wear clothes, and it takes her a while to show up. It takes her a little while because she, of course, is the woman that the detective
Is
is
looking
looking for. But now, as any detective would, he gets on the trail when people start missing. All these men go missing because these Hollywood chainsaw hookers are killing them and dismembering them. Because Mercedes is not the only one. You have Lori, Lisa, Ilsa, someone.
Yeah.
One of the other ones.
Sally. We got some other girls, and they're going around doing this all for the master. And then you got Jack, who ends up just kind of discovering that Linnea Quigley, a.k.a. Samantha, is dancing at a club, which is a club where he's trying to be picked up by one of these chainsaw hookers, Mercedes.
It's not even like a club. It's just that bar.
Right.
She's like not even dancing on a stage. I feel like she's just like
Because
in the
this
corner.
is like filmed in like somebody's apartment.
Yeah,
like
it's like a
a
basement.
lot of these shots are like in the corner and they're like one single perspective and like the lighting's horrible and there's nothing on the walls and the acoustics are horrible. It's like not great. And I would tell you what happens in between, but it's really like a whole lot of nothing. It's like
There's a lot of narration, which was like kind of annoying, but also the narration
Sometimes
voice
funny.
was pretty funny.
yes, and like some of the script was kind of funny.
The part where like he stays over at Sally's for that night and then like gets up and leaves and she gets pissed.
Well, Sally's his girl, or she used
Sally's
to
his
be.
girl, or used to be, kind of.
Kinda.
Well, they like stay the night, then like he gets up to leave and is getting dressed, and the scene cuts out and it's just his narration like over him leaving. And she's clearly pissed at him and is like, "What the fuck?" Like it's all mouthed and
She's
stuff.
flipping
and,
him off and
flipping
grabbing her
grabbing
tits.
and like just like shaking her fist at him. And he's like, "And that was Sally's way of saying she loved me. God, she was such a dame." It's like ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like, we loved passionately, we fought passionately, but we loved passionately, and that bird she could love, and she loved me that night. I said I'd come back later, and she said, please don't go, Jack, but I told her, I gotta do what I gotta do. But meanwhile, she's like, fuck you!
Yeah, she's going.
You piece of who's again? Yeah, I love that shit. She's doing the brush under the chin.
Sign language.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
great.
So there was a lot of like that type of
Again,
shit.
there are like funny moments in this movie. There are.
I liked.
And there was a lot of nudity, obviously. And that was like how we passed 40 minutes.
Realistically,
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding when I say that this movie is maybe closer to softcore porn than it is to horror.
Yeah.
There's moments where it felt like that. And like for anybody who, like, just heads up if you're going to watch it, I mean, it's just boobs. But
It's just
Yeah.
boobs and buckets of blood being thrown at boobs.
yeah. But it was fun. What were you going to say? Sorry.
Oh, we were talking about just individual funny bits, and there's a part where there's like a cop talking to the coroner, and the coroner is getting physically ill because of all the body parts that are in the
it's like,
bag. And
"You're
he's
the
like, "Yeah,
coroner."
the coroner. Like, you can't. I thought that was a really funny bit that you could like hear the coroner like open the bag and
Retching.
like puke and
And he's all threatening him, and he's like, "You better shape up, or I'm gonna fire you and get a new coroner." It's like it's publicly
Elected
voted
official,
office. Yeah, like, you can't just. He's all fucking pissed off. You're gonna be out of here looking for new work, and I'll have a new coroner.
But yeah, there are. I mean, there's a lot of funny bits. I mean, like the bag of condoms and a finger. Could this be a clue?
A clue?
And he's
Everything's
like,
a
he's like,
clue.
everything's a fucking clue or something.
Then he grabs the matchbook that has the address
Yeah.
to Mercedes.
So that is technically important to the slight plot that there is that the private eye swipes a pack of matches at the crime scene of the first kill that we were talking about, the Patrick Bateman-esque kill.
Mhm.
And it ends up having Mercedes' name and number written on it.
And that's how he
And once, yeah. and-
meets up with her at that bar that Linnea Quigley's
Right.
there. And that's okay. So he goes from the matchbook to basically the house or apartment, and Sally,
It's a bar
his
in the
girl.
movie.
Well, no,
Yeah.
the house is Sally, his girl, sees
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
matchbook.
yeah.
It's like, who the fuck is Mercedes? That's what she's all pissed off about. But he's all like, yeah. So I told her I had to go follow up on my lead, and so he like basically gets thrown out of the apartment or whatever, and he's like on the road looking for Samantha. He calls Mercedes, meets her at the bar, sees this woman dancing nude. It's Linnea Quigley in all her
Who-
glory.
whom he recognizes almost immediately because he's carrying
photo.
around a photo
to find her.
Because of her
'cause she's
father's
missing.
looking for.
because he hired her to
Samantha,
find her.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, this is our introduction to Quigley, which classic Quigley introduction. She's not talking. She's taking off her clothes.
Dancing, kind of.
Yeah,
We love Linnea Quigley here.
we do. She's great.
She's in a lot of she's in a lot of fun movies, and she's really sweet. But like, she doesn't offer a ton
Anything.
of acting
why
in most of her
she's
movies.
there.
And this movie, I have to say, is one of her weaker ones. Remember when I said that she did a pretty good job in Night of the Demons? You're like, oh, she did an okay job. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
she
she did a
did
great
a
job.
great
Like,
job for her.
Yeah.
this is rough.
Yeah, she is not
awful.
good in this, and I do not like how he talks about her.
Oh,
like she's 15.
Yeah.
Like
It's
there's
They
a
have
lot
sex.
of talk.
You remember what was that
Yeah,
one thing?
she's
Yeah,
where
they
even
literally
like, how
have-
old are you? 18. You got an ID?
Yeah, they literally like have sex after he questions how old she is, and
But,
then
like,
later he's like, "Shouldn't you be in school?" It's
And
like
he,
you
like,
just fucked her.
And like he calls her like kid, like kiddo, or
Yeah.
like say something like, "Isn't Daddy waiting for you to get home?" Like it's
Yeah.
strange
It's off
because it's like, what are we supposed to think that this like naked babe is a child?
yes.
It was weird. It was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it.
Well, that's this movie.
Well, you had those little socks that I know Rob hates.
Yeah, again, little doll socks, just like the same
You
from Night of
remember,
the
like
Demons.
from
Did
Night
you
of the
not see
Demons, the
that?
socks. She had the frilly
She's wearing the
socks.
same ones.
It's like the ankle socks that have like the frill. It's
come
like the
out
full frill around.
lacy and all.
I mean, I guess.
just.
I'm not looking at her feet.
I'm just saying, just she's
What
just
the fuck is wrong
looks
with
like
you?
a child, and yeah, it's creepy.
She doesn't look like a child.
She doesn't look like a child. She looks.
She's a small
Honestly,
adult. And sometimes she's stylized, like she's got little socks on. I don't like that either, but she's an adult. She's like 30 when this movie came out.
Yeah, I was about to say like she looks 30.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are we doing? Where are we at?
We just found Samantha.
Quigley's dancing, and she kind of realizes too. She doesn't know who he is, but the reaction that he has, you can tell.
he
She's like,
recognizes her?
she's like, yeah, she's like, I mean, because she's a runaway.
She knows that
Um,
he's not one of the
and
cult
part-
members.
and, like
she can
mixed
just
up in this, but we don't know why or how yet.
yeah.
So she runs away, right?
Yep.
She just runs away.
And
the
Mercedes
Mercedes
swifts-
catches onto it too, because she's like,
Yeah.
"Are you looking at other girls? You trying to make
Make me
me jealous?"
Let's
Drugs
go
him.
upstairs.
And he gets drugged.
yeah.
Yeah.
passes
Was
out
that
of the
upstairs? Was
table.
that just upstairs?
Well,
Set
no,
the
she
table.
They
like
go back
says
to
that,
her-
but she drugs him. She switches the drink around and all that
Yeah.
shit. She's like making sweet on him, and then he wakes up. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like out in the street
No, he wakes up in a bed.
in a bed.
And it turns out he's strapped down to it, but he doesn't realize that for like minutes.
Yeah. The
He's like
reveal.
having
That's
a
fucking
long
hot.
conversation, like cracking jokes, and then realizes that he is like Da Vinci bound.
Da Vinci.
And it's like, how
bound.
is that not the first thing you notice when you get up, that you can't move any of your limbs because they're tied with rope?
Doing a bit.
But yeah, shit, he wakes up. Wait, what the fuck, dude? My notes are concise and I can make them out. Half of them are just me trying to write down some of the funny quotes.
What are some of the funny quotes?
All the little leaguers and church goers love my naked baseball calendars. Oh yeah, that's the guy.
Oh yeah.
Calendars.
I forgot about this guy. Has this happened yet?
No.
No. So this is later when that old creepy dude has one of the prostitutes over and just wants to take pictures of her with the baseball
Yeah,
bat.
I think that's in the beginning, honestly,
Lori, right?
but I'm not
Maybe.
positive.
With a deep voice.
It's not Mercedes or
Murphy?
Yeah, so Murphy. Oh, that's the name of the guy.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
Whenever it happens, yeah, it's wild.
And he just comes. She just comes at him, and he's like, "Why are you getting so close? You're
I
getting
can't.
out of focus."
I'm out of focus.
And of course, she just comes and whacks him with the baseball bat, and then hacks him apart with the chainsaw.
In the bathtub.
24 inches of fun. Toys for big boys.
Toys for big boys.
That's what she says.
I remember
hot.
that, yeah. Because she's going to hack him up with the fucking chaser. What do you got there? 24 inches of fun. God, Michelle Bauer is so fucking pretty.
Sexy.
Oh, my God.
Oh, and she's got a great line before she cuts him up. She says, "The calendar idea was ahead of its time," and then cuts his head off. And then we see Gunnar Harrison again. Like, I think he's like outside this time.
Yeah, he's like not in the shadows, like half lit.
Which is funny because if you've seen the movie poster, as we've discussed, you have. It's just his face, like in the darkness, looming over like the skyline and like all the Hollywood chainsaw hookers. It's really funny because that's basically his role for half of the movie. It's just him looking with that
big imposing eyebrows.
Did you like the actual child at the bar, like smoking a cigarette?
That was hilarious. The kid, I actually laughed. So see, like that's what I'm talking about. It's like
because it wasn't acknowledged by anyone, which made it funny.
Yeah.
Because
there was just like a 12-year-old sitting at the bar smoking a cigarette, like looking like a bar regular.
Well, it was kind of like a subtle, but like very over the top. Like it was kind of like I don't know, like a Jew, a rabbi, and a priest, or what? Like the Jew and a rabbi, and a priest. But you know, like a rabbi, a priest, and an atheist walking to a bar type of bit. Because it was like a normal dude, construction worker, like older dude, like black dude, woman. Then it's like very young child. It was like they just kind of tried to like sneak in this weird diversity place like in a bar. It was funny. Child's also like smoking and drinking. It wasn't like some weird 80s thing where kids can go to the bar.
No.
But yeah, this movie, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's like we'll get to it, I guess, maybe when we talk about our final rankings, but it's not one that you need to sit down and watch. And even if it sounds interesting to you, like you still don't need to sit down and watch. But it's a fun deep cut. It's got some familiar faces, and we got to watch it. And now, like, obviously, it's not something that would ever be on. It's like not even really likely to be on streaming. I've been waiting to find this for a while.
I mean, if you're a fan of Night of the Demons,
but
and
if you threw this on in the background
and Slime Ball
you know what I mean?
like it's like a not as good version of those.
If you walked past this movie and
At
it
a
was just
Halloween
on
party.
playing, like there's many moments that you could watch in isolation that would make you laugh. You're gonna see buckets of blood and you're gonna see boobs. Like it is exactly what it's advertised to be, and you could argue that it's too long at 75 minutes, and it just might be.
It might be.
But it's fun and it's funny. I love the tagline. One of the all-time great taglines in cinema. They charge an arm and a leg.
That is a great tagline.
So cheesy.
It's great.
I want to talk about another part that made me laugh really hard, and it's when the private eye calls the police office and it goes to voicemail. And the voicemail is like, if you've committed a homicide, please stay on the line.
Oh no!
If
Please
you
call
fear
911.
you're going to be the victim of a homicide, please call 911.
And these were like
very much want
the
to talk to
third
you.
or fourth options too. They weren't
If
even
this is what is it?
Jack.
This is Jack Chandler. Hang up. I've told you before. I've told you a million times. Don't call me at this number.
I'm off duty. So funny. This movie was, I don't know, sloppy start to finish, but once we've woken up in the bed, who is above him in the bed? It's a different woman. It's one of the different Hollywood chainsaw hookers who's already
one that you see the least, like one that's like you don't need to know her name.
Yes.
And that's not like a dig. It's just
you don't know her name.
You don't know her name. Like it's probably not even said.
Right.
But this is when we meet Gunnar Harrison for the first, or like when he speaks. What do I keep calling him?
Harrison.
Gunnar Hansen. But yeah, the Master.
Yeah.
He is credited in this one. He is not really anyone that makes any sense. He kind of talks in riddles. He's like, I don't know, just say it. Omnious. Ominous. God, why couldn't I do that? Omnious.
But he kind of
ominous
explains the plot to us.
And they worship
the
chainsaws.
Viewers.
Yeah, well, which is, what do you mean? Like, he explains it
like
because
he
just says the words.
He talks about the cult.
It doesn't make sense at all. He's like, yes, of course, because of my ancient bloodline to Egypt, we worship chainsaws.
And he says, so what do you pray to Black and Decker?
Yeah. He was corny. He did have a lot of good fucking corny lines like that. But yeah, so basically the Master has been like gathering a horde of chainsaw wielding prostitutes to make sacrifices to the Egyptian gods, and there doesn't really seem to be an end game for this.
Yeah, I don't really get.
It's just kind of like in ceremony.
Yeah, there's
Well,
not like one big final
there,
thing.
there
They
kind of
just
is.
Yeah.
Because like that's the whole thing with Linnea Quigley is like she's volunteered to be the official sacrifice.
She's a
at the
virgin.
Oh, she's a
temple.
virgin. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that will. He literally, I think Chandler or Jack Chandler said something like, "What does it give you another 100 years of immortal life?" He's like, "How did you know that?"
Yeah,
you know,
that
it's
is
just
true.
like so.
It's like he has to kill a virgin like every
ridiculous.
100 years. But like, why is everybody else died? And like, why does he need all the chainsaw hookers? And like the
Because
best,
reasons.
the best part of the movie though, or like, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but like definitely what's billed as the climax, like the big reason to see the movie, I guess, and the iconic scene is the what's he called, like the virginal sacrifice dance
The
of
dance?
the two
The
chainsaws.
dual chainsaws.
Yeah, the virginal sacrifice scene.
It's just like her like spinning slowly in circles.
She's
with
like
chainsaws.
dressed, or she's like naked completely,
But
but she's got
painted.
this like
she has cool paint. Like it looks cool.
It's like
honestly,
a
the
chromatic like serpent on her or some
Yeah.
shit.
paint. Yeah.
And then she's got these two chainsaws, which you can tell, even though they're not the biggest chainsaws, they're like
They might weigh
heavy.
more than her put together.
Dude, each of them probably weigh what, 15 pounds,
Yeah.
18
Probably,
pounds,
probably. Yeah.
and
12
like
or
you could
15
tell, like
pounds.
she's
That's
probably
half her weight.
she's 40 pounds, like 20 pounds in your offhand, and she's like trying to do these lateral raises with this long fucking weird shape.
Which is also on and like spewing out like CO2 and exhaust. and
Shaking.
shit.
It's like, yeah, I mean, sure, there's no live chain on it or anything, but it is making noise, and it's got to be hard to carry. And her sexy dance is like, it's so lethargic and like not.
She
very
looks so
sexy.
tired.
She looks like
Yeah.
she's filmed that scene 10 times.
It's the most tired she's ever been.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and
she's
it's like,
also
give this girl a
very
break.
fit. Like she's a very fit,
Yeah.
attractive woman. Not trying to make. She looks tired because that's a hard job, but
Yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't dance with
exactly.
two
exactly.
No.
large chainsaws
But yeah,
for
she's
probably
very
over an hour.
she's very fit. Like we've talked about her a bunch in the past, but she obviously did her workout videos, so she's big in the fitness. But yeah, this movie pretty much culminates with what Jack. I don't even remember, to tell you the truth, because I watched this days ago. But I'm gonna make it up. Jack interrupts the ceremony of some sorts, and then nothing happens, and then him and Linnea Quigley somehow escape again and make out and do weird creepy things because he treats her like a child.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems right.
Pretty much.
Is that right, or do we all just forget and agree? I know that's what
Yes.
Rob's doing, but like, what happens in this movie, Bill? It's been days. You watched it just last night.
Let's see.
Keep scrolling those notes. It's amazing that you have this many notes on this. Like, what
They're
are you not
mostly-
saying about this movie?
They're mostly just
One-liners.
quotes.
Drop a couple spicy one-liners.
The kid talked like a frosted flake, but she had the best set of knockers I've seen in a while.
Oh yeah, that's the last line in the movie
Yeah,
because he
that's
hires her. No, not that one. But I'm saying he hires her on to be his receptionist because she's got a great set of
of
tits.
tits.
Yeah, that's the last.
So yeah,
one.
he does. He hires her on to be his receptionist at the end of the fucking
Oh.
movie. His wife's not going to be too
Well,
happy
we
about it.
learn that Quigley's not really part of the cult. The cult killed one of her best friends, so she infiltrates the cult and wants to kill them. She's not actually like a runaway.
is
She
true.
just wants revenge. So she's doing her sacrificial dance, and then she kills
The master.
and one of the main girls,
That's right.
Mercedes, I think, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And then then that's when they have like the weird, like, how old are you?
See how
21?
fucked up is that? How fucked up is that? I want to apologize to the Elmers. How fucked up is that? Because like I'm just like, oh, I forgot what happens. Let me just assume. And my assumption was this fucking piece of shit Jack was gonna come in and white knight. When
No,
Linnea
Quigley
this
goes for
strong
it.
woman, had a plan. She's independent from the beginning. She was vengeful to get, to seek out some sort of comeuppance for her friend. Took matters into her own hands, and she fucking killed Gunnar Hansen, who's like
And it's a
6'7".
chainsaw, and
Big
it's a
boy.
chainsaw
300
fight.
Yes.
Where they're like going at it like it's like samurai swords like
Yes.
clashing
And
against
that
each
piece
other.
of shit as the gall at the end of the movie to talk about how he's going to give her a job as a receptionist. Like, he saved
should be
her
working
life.
for her.
Yeah, no shit. And he's like, oh, I'm going to because she's got a great set of tits. And it's like, you know what? She does have a great set of tits, and that
It's
has
called
nothing to do
Hollywood
with
chainsaw
anything.
hookers.
Yeah.
Like, you know what you're getting.
It's not called Jack
This is
Chandler,
not a feminist piece.
Hollywood investigator, Hollywood private dick.
Another funny bit was the cops arriving at the scene, and there's like cardboard signs that say "Temple this way."
Yeah, this
Oh,
way,
that was really funny.
This way, closer.
And then
You're almost there.
You're almost
Keep
there.
going.
Big statues of like cats, like in Egyptian style, outside a warehouse. It's great. What a movie.
But then the dead bad guy, he's just gone. His
Yeah, he kinda, like,
he like
they melt.
dissipates.
They like melt away.
Yeah.
Which of course we don't know why.
Honestly,
we don't learn why,
didn't
like,
it kind of
most the
feel like they
lore.
were setting it up for Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers 2? And I'm so glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know
Leave
what
it
I
open,
mean?
I
They
guess.
could have definitely done a sequel. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Sometimes you pick a good one. Sometimes you pick a fun one. I'm not sure where this falls, but it's one I've been meaning to watch for a while. It didn't do a ton, but what it did in excess, and arguably for too long, as we've mentioned. I don't have a ton else to say about the movie. We kind of talked about the director, some of the stars, and then we drug out
Most
the
of the
plot as
plot.
long as we could.
As we
There's
could.
not a lot. If you're interested, check it out. I think we watched it on Tubi.
Shout out Tubi.
Doobie.
Otherwise, yeah. Bill, did you? I mean, what were your thoughts? Had you heard of this movie? I guess let's squeeze another 5-10 minutes. Have you heard of this movie before I'd picked it, or?
I did, yeah. I wouldn't really say it was on like a short list, but it's one that was like in my mind, and I knew that I would watch eventually, just because I knew it was kind of the same universe as Slime Ball, Ramen, Frankenhooker, you know, like that kind of thing. Like I knew I would get to it.
Jim Wynorski and like Dave Dakota and those other guys who do those movies that you just mentioned all kind of run in the same like circle as this Fred Olen Ray, where they all kind of make these B horror movies, but they also make kind of like the parody porn movies / like porn horror comedy exploitation movies. Like I mean, if you look at the other names of some of these movies that he's done, it's like Beverly Hills Vamp, Scream Queen, Hot Tub Party, Mom Can I Keep Her? You know what I mean? Bikini Jones and the Temple of Eros, Bikini
Wow.
Cave Girl, Bikini Frankenstein, like Bikini Roundup. It's just, there's a lot of that. And then like Jim Wynorski and Dave Dakota do all the same stuff. And then they also make the horror movies. But yeah, it's kind of like the same vein. And I think that's how this movie gets brought up in a lot of people's conscious, because it's not necessarily making lists for any other reason than it's always like on the banned lists or like on the video nasties or on the like top 100 most cheesy 80s movies, and like that's kind of all it is.
I mean, it's funny. I'm glad I watched it. I'm not gonna watch it again.
Right.
I mean, if you're a big fan of Quigley or just like bloody breasts in general, give it a shot.
And you're a fan of both, and you still aren't probably watching it again.
No, because I can get that in better movies.
Right. Yeah, that's not like hard to come
But
by.
it was fun. Private Dick was pretty fucking funny. Like he had a lot of good one-liners. There was some fun behind the scenes going on. Like I like the cop phone call to the coroner was really funny. The signs were really funny. I remember now that there was a cardboard sign in the temple that said, "Please wait until your number is called."
Oh yeah.
Like just like silly stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's expletive. Like Rob said, it's like pretty much just a softcore porno, but not even that, because there's no intercourse. It's just
It's not even like making out or anything really.
Yeah,
But it's just a lot of
women
naked women in thongs running around with chainsaws.
And like you said, a lot, like it's kind of like so much of it that it's like lost its sexiness, because it's like, yeah, this has been going on for 3 minutes.
Right. At a time with a 2-minute break until the next time it happens for 3 minutes.
It could have been better. Honestly, even like any amount of on-screen violence would have really elevated this. Like I thought that there was going to be that. Like I was a little disappointed that, and I
Same.
knew, like you said, like that very first, I was like, if the very first kill is fully off-screen, we're not getting like anything on screen. And you don't. I mean, like. I would say the goriest thing you get is her tossing like the limb off of her tit, which
is like clearly a fake limb.
Yeah, which is not. Like,
it's like
good
a
effect
plastic, like
at all.
yeah, like
it's like a chew toy.
yeah. But I mean, okay, so this movie, it definitely did lean heavy on like the female nudity.
Yeah.
And there is an element of that that's like kind of trashy cinema, right? And we're not necessarily above that at 13th and Elm, but if you do watch alongs or whatever, just it's kind of trash, honestly.
It's trash.
It's kind of trash. So just a heads up,
Heads up,
it's
trash.
exploitive in a lot of ways. Like I don't think it's exceedingly derogatory or anything, but I mean it's exploiting the idea of sex and violence to the umpteenth degree, and putting it in a little 70-minute package and trying to have some fun with it. And if that sounds like fun to you, maybe check it out, but really not a lot. I mean, one of the most remarkable things about this movie is Linnea Quigley is probably like one of the most clothed women in the movie, which might be one of the few times that happens in her career.
Yeah. Yeah, she's more naked in Night of the Demons that we did last week.
Return of the Living Dead, for sure.
And Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I had to rate this movie, and I'm rating this because I think it's pretty true and because of the number, like I'd give it a 69.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's way higher than what you would give it.
I don't know, Rob, what'd you think? Like, what had you heard of the movie, or like, what'd you think?
69 is a D.
I'd never seen this before or heard of it.
Yeah.
But like you hear the title, you know what you're getting.
And you don't get much else, really.
You don't get much else. Yeah.
No, you get Hollywood, you get chainsaws, you get
hookers. And I have no issue.
The only thing that you get that you didn't expect was the private dick.
The private dick, which was like funny.
And it was a kind of a fun additive.
They're flashes.
But it does lose its shimmer.
Yeah, it does. And again, like, man, if this movie is 75 minutes and it feels too long at that, it's like already, that's like just a knock in general.
It's true. Like, I checked like how much time was
like
left.
20 minutes left.
Like
20
10
minutes
times
left.
like the last 30 minutes.
So that's like a pretty big knock about any movie about any genre. And I as you know, I know it's not like you guys are like, oh man, it's like tits, haha, whatever. Like, but like this doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
There's not any cool gore. The plot's like whatever. It's like kind of funny. Again, like they're like flashes and stuff, but like I wouldn't watch this movie again. I wouldn't recommend this movie to most people except for you two in this room.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
I'm gonna give it like a 40.
Flat?
Yeah.
Damn, that
like,
is low, but I'm not
50
really
is kind of like 50 is like I'm gonna probably
potentially
maybe
rewatch
watch
it.
this again.
So that's crazy to me that you would rewatch a 50.
Yeah, but
because
like
to me a 50 is like don't even.
That's like a critical fail.
But again, it's like I'm a
movie.
teacher that's not given 10, like 100, like like that's not happening.
That's fair.
So everything's on a scale.
Yeah, for me it's like honestly, if it's on a 75 or above, I'm probably not watching it again.
Like I'm not saying like this wasn't a chore because it was fun. Like Michael and I watched it together.
And you guys watched it together.
Yeah, we watched
it together.
It's
and we
always
laughed.
fun.
We had a good time.
It was a good time. And like it was like I guess not the worst thing I've watched. Like, but if I had watched this alone,
you wouldn't have
for
watched
the pod,
it.
No, I mean I would have because I would have done it for the pod. But
for
if
the
I had
pod,
watched it solo, it would have. I'd just been a slog. Like I would have laughed at the gumshoe stuff and like the paperback film noir and all that. But I like you said, like after like 30 minutes and it's like, okay, everything's off screen. It's like more tits. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot of fun watching it on my own.
So yeah, I don't know. Not for me.
Yeah, and I don't mean anything by this other than exactly what I mean by it, but it's like it's not for you. Like this movie is made for like 15-year-old fucking boys in the 80s who are like getting their older brothers to steal them copies of fucking VHS. This is like definitely like a certain like straight to video holy grail for like the
Like
fucking
6 teenage boys watching
Yes.
it like in the same room at midnight.
with like a fake slip cover on it. Like they have
Yeah.
like, fucking whatever ET slip cover on it, and they're
Jerking.
yes, no, but totally
Under
that's
those
like
blankets.
that's like kind of
Yeah.
what this is. And I feel like even though this is such a weird thing to say, but even though like none of us had that, obviously, it's like I feel like there's a level of the adolescent boy present in me that like recognizes that and watching it and sees, and because like I said, like my favorite thing about this movie arguably is that it is the horror movie that your parents were so afraid that you were going to watch or whatever. And like
it's
my
a trash film.
yeah, and my mom was like pretty fucking chill with like horror and stuff. Like she's a big Stephen King fan. Like I got to watch things. Like I didn't really have to worry about that. I wasn't regulated in that way, the way some people are. But when you
Right.
hear all these like Tipper Gore and like fucking
I love that you bring up
PTA.
Tipper Gore all the time.
Yeah, but because she was
She was
always on a
important,
fucking
yeah.
crusade against like
Burning hell.
censoring fucking art in the
fuck you,
80s.
Tipper
On like
Gore.
that's when so many fucking cool things. I feel like our podcast, we talk about that type of shit. We talk about horror movies and we talk about heavy metal and we talk about like these gore films and shit, when it was like all these things that were coming out straight to video or anything that was like circumventing national distribution or like theatrical
FCC.
releases and stuff like that.
MPAA.
When like parents would find this shit and they'd write into their senators or whatever, Tipper Gore was the one out there on her fucking soapbox trying to get all of this shit taken out of the video rental places and taken off of the shelves, and like we wanted to ban it. And you know what?
Shit's art.
Because fuck that, dude. And that's why I love these types of movies, because they are gratuitous and they're silly, and for the sake of this. And I don't care what it was. If it was like Hollywood dongs of the fucking devil, I would watch that too, and it would be awesome.
We should make that.
We can. It's Blood Dick
Oh,
49.
it's the
We have 49.
origin story, but it's not Blood Dick. It's called Dongs. What?
Dongs of the Hollywood dongs of the devil.
Hollywood Dongs the Devil in parentheses a Blood Dick prequel.
Yes.
Yes, origin
And see,
story.
like we always say this, there's like we need more male nudity in
they could have
horror movies.
easily
Yes.
thrown a dick in this movie, and it would
They
have
could
been
have thrown
better.
the Dick's dick in this movie.
Dick's
Yes,
dick.
Dick's
we
dick.
should have seen Dick's dick in this movie for
Dickception?
sure.
See,
Was he
and-
attractive? And like kind of like a sleaze bag. Like
okay.
I thought he was a reporter.
I feel
for
like
a
he's
while.
kind of sexy in that like
Kind of looks like a hobo.
he's kind of sexy in that like last option at the bar, ripping cigarettes at last
definitely
call
what he is.
type of fucking way,
He
which
has,
is
Why?
he has a little bit of swag. He like tosses his
Greasy
hat
charisma.
onto things like many times. Like he tosses his hat and lands it on the cop's
oh yeah,
telephone at one point, and I think his girl throws his hat at him like
And
at
it lands
anger.
on his
He
head.
catches it on his head and like gives a little salute. Like he's got some swagger, some like trashy swagger.
Like you said though, it's like Barfly is like it's such a crazy thing to say somebody this about him, but it's like if somebody were to play him in a movie, it'd be like Matt Dillon and like Barfly or like a Mickey Rourke or some sort of like
someone's kinda
grizzled
greasy,
veteran
grizzly.
who's like not classically attractive, but like
who's the actor?
masculine and kind of like
like kinda
grizzled.
the actor from
unkempt.
Law and Order and Happy.
Oh yeah. Happiness, you mean? Or what's it called? The guy.
Patton Oswalt as the unicorn.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I'm
can't
talking
remember
about,
his
yeah.
name. But yeah.
That guy.
What are we watching?
Oh, I
Wait,
didn't
you
rate this
rank it
movie.
yet.
So-
rank it.
Let me just
Rank
wrap it
it.
up and say
Rank it.
this movie had a very low ceiling. And that's okay. That I almost feel bad because there's part of it that's like this scale is my personal enjoyment, and I do enjoy this movie, so I want to rate it high. But I say it has a ceiling, and that's because it's like it doesn't deserve my attention or like multiple watch throughs or really like a lot of praise. It's just kind of like it's not even comfort food because it's not something that I'm familiar with, but it's just like, yeah, I get that, and I feel good about it, and I kind of want to protect it because it's like offensive. Genuinely, I guess it's offensive to some people, and because of that, it could be threatened, and people would want to take it away. And I love to stand up for the trash cinema, and I love to stand up for the drive-in movies, and I love to stand up for the B horror and this type of shit. And as silly as it sounds, I do love this movie, but like it is bad, and I don't want to watch it very often, and that is why the ceiling's low, and I'm gonna give it a 64. Like, I don't really think it's great, but fuck, man, if I went into this is a wild thing to say, but if I was gonna like date a chick and I walked into a girl's house and she was like, fucking pulled up her queue or something, and she's like recently watched Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, I was like, you watched Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers? She'd be like, dude, don't judge. It's like horrible trash cinema. I'd be like, that's awesome. Let's never watch that movie together.
Yeah, because it's not a good movie. It more speaks about a person's like open interest in horror and movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be
But it
like, oh,
doesn't
you got
make
some
it
deep
good.
cuts.
It's like a garbage film.
Okay, so it's like I haven't made you guys watch what's that like Death at Blood Fart Lake. Have you guys?
I know that one. Yeah.
Sure, pick it. We'll watch it.
I will, and we will, and
Good.
it'll be great. But yeah, this movie's whatever. Watch it. Don't. 60s are way too high, but it is kind of fun for us. Rob, next week, what are you cooking? What are you making?
I don't know.
What are we watching?
I do know, kind of.
Ooh.
There's two. There's
There's
always
two.
2. 2 is the number. 2 there shall be. Both by the same director. One that you guys have probably seen.
Who's the director?
I'm not telling you.
Okay.
And because it'll give it away. And one that I would be really surprised if you'd seen it. So.
I mean, I'm always
You
gonna
always want
pick
the one you
the one I haven't seen.
What about
If
you?
that's,
I
I mean,
always
is
wanna
that
watch
is that
new
what we got to
things.
go off of? Because it's like, whoa, you want to watch a movie that you've seen or a movie you haven't seen? I'm just gonna pick the movie I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But if it's like, well, one's about like me and one's about you, I'm gonna pick the one about me.
Okay. That makes sense. So you want the one you haven't seen? Is that what I'm
Yes.
hearing?
Sure.
Yay! Okay, so next week's movie is Life Force, 1985, Toby Hooper.
Oh,
Oh.
I've actually been wanting to see this.
Wait, what was the other
This one
one?
sounds crazy.
Poltergeist.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just watched
Yeah.
that recently, actually, so I'm glad we didn't do that one. Even though that would be a great one to
Would've been a good
do.
pod.
That would be a good
right?
pod one. Life
yeah.
Force.
Have
Yeah.
you seen Poltergeist?
I have seen parts of it. I don't think I've seen it all the way through.
Damn, it's so good.
So yeah, but
Why the fuck this whole shit
Life
up?
Force is on Amazon Prime. Shout out to Jeff Bezos.
Shut up, Bezos.
Burn in hell, Jeff Bezos. You have too much money. But
Keep
we're
sending me
gonna
them
keep giving you money because I think we all have subscriptions to Amazon Prime. Doesn't matter. 1985, Life Force. It's about space vampires. Imagine that. I know.
Is it like
Wait, it's about space
actually a
vampires?
It's like
vampire,
not
or
really,
is it
but
like
kind
got
of.
vampires in it?
They're like not vampires, but they are or something. I don't really know.
I don't know anything about this, to be honest, so I'm excited.
Hour
it's
40.
Hour
I'm gonna
42.
look
It's
it up.
rated R. It's got a 6.1 on IMDb.
That's not bad. What's it streaming on?
Streaming on the old Amazon Prime.
We
as
just
I
talked about
said.
it.
Shout out to
Jeff
Bezos.
Keep sending me boxes.
Yeah, it's about like it takes place in it's like Britain too. It's like British space.
Oh,
service.
fun.
Yeah. I think it's got some big name in it. What's his name?
Brian Dennehy.
No, Patrick Stewart is in it.
Oh.
Mhm.
Peace Stew?
Yeah, Peace Stew and Peter Firth.
And P. Firth?
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
Is he related to Colin?
probably.
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, Mathilda May is also in it. She's like She's like some model that she was found, like a French model.
She's like kind of the antagonist.
She was like found for this movie.
She's also
I feel
like
kinda.
naked as fuck all the movie long.
That's what I heard. Because this is
Yeah.
like okay, that's
We're
why I
just
know
doing
about this movie.
We're just doing like a nudity themeness for this
We're
round.
doing a vampire movie because it's my pick.
Yeah, though we have picked a lot of like these like
What's a
80s
nude- 80s
navy
nudie- 80
movies lately.
nudies?
We did like one each round. So Bill, when you come up after Rob,
I'm doing fucked up.
find
gore.
something different. Yeah, sure. Pick gore. Or
Maybe
maybe
what you want.
maybe
I
we'll
want
keep
fucked
a
up
theme
gore.
going, or maybe we won't. But
Probably won't.
it's kind of fun. It worked out this way this time. Elmers, if you have a favorite 80s nudie movie, I don't know what the fuck we're calling them. Let us know in the comments.
Movie.
Let us know in the comments.
Tell us why it's Sorority Babes and the Slime Bowl-O-Rama.
Oh god, that is a good one. Or Return of the Living Dead, or really any movie featuring Linnea Quigley. I also like Slumber Party Massacre. Is that 80 or 79 though? Who knows? Well, it's got
Dude,
Brink
first
A.
one might be
Stephen in it.
79.
Brink A. Stevens also is in Sorority Babes and Slime Bowl Rama. We talk about that movie way too much to not watch it. We'll get it on for maybe the Halloween Blitz, maybe 31 Days of Horror. We'll talk about
I
that
will
movie.
totally pick that.
It's a fun one.
With that, we just want to thank you, Elmers, for
Yeah.
everything.
Thank
Always.
you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pull up with us, watch 2 films. Come on, watch 2 films. If you scared, don't come over here. 13th Elm.